Boom. We got one. We got time for one more tonight. Okay, now look, guys. I've been on. Boom. Turn this up here. Sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna play a video. I know that me personally, my channel has been on a break for a while. So we're just gonna. I'm happy the Dodge is coming back. I mean, we all knew it was gonna happen, right? I mean, even when they were building that Banshee or whatever the Charger is, I'm a GM guy. I'm a GM guy, but I am an American first guy. That's what's important. So I am a big supporter of the big three. It sucks that Stellantis owns this company. It sucks that they own the brand and the way that they're butchering it. And I disagree with the ownership of it entirely. But nonetheless, it's back. At least we have something. At least we have something. But I found a video. Although this news is not anything new, this video, as it's only 12 days old, NBC coming back at us with bringing up some good highlight reels. I'm going to give, now that I'm back to producing content, I'm going to give my 2 cents on the whole thing. Why I think it's kind of lame, but it's not. I mean, you know what I mean? But I'm happy it's back. So don't look a gift horse in the mouth is how I was raised. Let's add it in here. Let's get going. I'll just boom. And then let's do it. Obviously, I'll preface this video by saying I got to stop it for copyright reasons every now and again, but I'm going to jump in when I need to jump in. I'm pretty sure in 2025, as many reaction videos as there are out there on the internet, I don't think that needs to be said. But you never know. There's new people every day.
The struggling American car brands owned by Stellantis are getting a $13 billion shot in the arm.
Stellantis unveiling a $13 billion investment in U.S. manufacturing right here in this country.
After losing $2.7 billion in just the first half of 2025, Stellantis is betting on a U.S. turnaround.
Oh,
because this is the largest market where we operate.
Yeah, see, this shit I can't understand. I can't stand it. I have a hard time getting behind these brands. I'm hoping with these tariffs, the stuff will start being built here again. What really bothers me is the great grandson of one of the Dodge brothers tried to come in and buy this company. That I think would have been the best comeback story. But no, we got these little wieners from over in Europe trying to tell us what, because that's what Dodge does, man. They're badass, they're cool, they're edgy. They do everything Ford and GM don't. So that's kind of what, comes full circle and, completes the American brand. And when you put people like this in charge of that, seriously hard for me to take it seriously. But $13 billion, that's got to come from somewhere. I'm scared to see what's going to be coming.
And what we see growth.
5 brand new vehicles over the next 4 years, almost 20 refreshes, and a plan to boost manufacturing by 50%. After 3 years of record profits, Stellantis finished 2024 in free fall. Price hikes and product missteps, especially in America, drove customers away. Even its former CEO called the U.S. strategy arrogant.
The American side is Stellantis. It's where the profits come from, and it supports virtually every other region. And Tavares didn't get that. He didn't understand the importance of Ram and Jeep, and especially in the United States.
You think this guy will? I'm having a hard time buying that he will. I mean, maybe he's going to see the data, read the numbers, and be like, oh shit, I need to shut up. But even Lamborghini knows we're over half of the world's consumption of exotics. I mean, the American market is massive. And to have dudes like this, especially, I mean, we saw how Harley Davidson ended up, right? And yeah, I'm skeptical. I'll leave it at that.
Now, new leadership is trying to rebuild the U.S. brands under the pressure of high costs and new tariffs.
Time will tell if they can gain back that market share. If they can, though, this could be a really compelling story.
What was that? Whoa. I'm going to back that up.
If they can, though, this could be...
That car right there. I don't know what they're calling it. Banshee, Charger, whatever. I think it's a good looking car. It's just, it's not an EV, man. It's terrible. It's a terrible EV.
They have really compelling story.
Born from the 2021 merger of French maker Peugeot and Italian-American Fiat Chrysler, Stellantis almost immediately soared. Headed by then CEO Carlos Tavares, the company had promised investors it could save $5 billion through synergies, shared parts, platforms, and processes. It doubled that. Among other things, it cut its global parts count by 75%. Meanwhile, pandemic-era supply shortages allowed it to raise prices on what it could build, boosting profits even as volumes shrank.
A lot of automakers during the pandemic really raised
What the-
pricing, but they actually were among the worst offenders.
Those hikes, combined with cost cuts, nearly tripled profits in Stellantis' first year. They jumped again in 2022 and again in 2023. Shares flew, hitting an all-time high the following March. But tight inventories hid the deeper problem. Customers were walking away.
This isn't like a Mercedes, right? Or a BMW. These are brands like Jeep and Ram, etc., which are, not necessarily mass market, but not luxury.
Bingo. Also, Hellcats, well, Scat Packs, they're a want, not a need. Yes, you have to have a car to haul your family around, get to work. Most of us in America, anyways. America's so big, driving is just, it just comes natural. It's just what we do, right? But he nailed it. Dodge, this is what I believe hurt the Viper too. It's not a luxury brand. It's not known to be a luxury brand. And yet they're trying to charge luxury prices. It's going to kill it.
So the consumer of these products gets stretched at some point. They're more price sensitive. You can make the case also that they didn't invest in the products as the pricing went up.
Few vehicles got any updates at all, and Stellantis axed lower-priced models from the US market, such as the entry-level Jeep Renegade, the iconic but declining mid-range Cherokee, and Ram's cheapest model, the Ram Classic.
Stupid moves. Dumb. Idiotic. Also, like I heard the tooling and the die set and everything that was stamping the Charger and Challenger out was like from the 80s, man. That stuff was so old, it paid for itself 100 times over. The architecture which this platform was built on was ancient, and it was still bringing in cash like you wouldn't even believe. And yet they messed it up somehow, some way.
Moves like this slashed volumes by nearly 1 million units over 5 years.
Because you're at a point now where they've lost so much market share. They're not operating at maximum utilization at their plants.
If you cut volume too much, the high fixed costs of running a plant eat into margins. Ideally, a factory is at least about 80% utilized. That is typically when it becomes profitable. And without a Cherokee, Stellantis has no direct competitor to the RAV4 and Honda CR-V.
So imagine you're in the US and you don't have a product that's in the sweet spot. I think it's like 3 to 4 million a year, that category.
The bet was that Cherokee buyers would move up to the Grand Cherokee or down to the Compass. They didn't. Other upscale moves fizzled. Sales of the revived Wagoneer nameplate have collapsed.
The products have been the issue at Stellantis. The newer products haven't appealed to the same customer that they replaced.
The result, Stellantis' US market share slid 5% in 5 years, putting it behind Hyundai and Honda.
I'm surprised it didn't slide further than that. The thing is this is what happens when you get people that are way out of touch with reality, and especially they're out of touch with the common people or the demographic that buys these cars. You can't take it and try to make it exclusive. This is what I think GM is also messing up on too. They're missing the mark on. You can't play keep away, think it's exclusive, still give the consumer a plastic interior. And, you know, it's just like the ZR1. They're doing $100,000 markup. They're going to be doing this with, you know, Hellcats and Vipers and all these, you know, assuming the Viper comes back, which they're going to need it. They're going to need it at this point if they want to make a comeback, because they're going to have to do something. But you cannot just try to play keep away, make it exclusive, make it a limited edition or a numbered chassis system, because that's not the demographic for this car. It's make it plentiful, make it cheap. That's why the C8 took off as hard as it did. $59,000 for a mid-engine Corvette. That's they got the wrong mentality.
Now, Stellantis is racing to fix the damage. It is not spelled out what it is spending all of this $13 billion on, but about a tenth of it is going into U.S. factories, the biggest chunk to the once idle.
Okay, I want to see Illinois, Ohio, Michigan again, and Indiana. Okay, so they're keeping it in the Midwest.
Belvidere, Illinois plant, where it will resume building the Jeep Cherokee. Other investments fill other lineup gaps. $400 million goes to Ohio for a new midsize Ram pickup. $230 million to 2 plants in Michigan for 2 large SUVs, an entirely new one, and a refreshed Dodge Durango. By now, that brand's best-selling vehicle by far. But analysts say new models aren't enough. It's going to have to roll back the prices that customers balked at.
Probably is going to hurt profits near term, and the goal or the hope, let's say, is that by gaining market share longer term, now maybe that'll improve profits.
Stellantis' other pressure point is one stinging every automaker doing business in the U.S. Tariffs. They are likely to cost the company about $1.7 billion for the full year.
That, I think, is the real reason why they are increasing the production in the U.S.
About 40% of the vehicles Stellantis sells in the U.S. are assembled somewhere else, mostly Mexico and Canada. That means they are vulnerable to 25% tariffs. Other automakers have been trying to absorb those tariffs, but with net income negative, Stellantis can't, and can't pass them on to customers either. Narayan.
This is something GM's got to get on board with too. This is probably a good play. Now, where the performance or the SRT models are going to be built, that's going to be like the most important part to me.
Says if the company can build half its sales volume domestically, it may escape the tariff entirely.
This year, the guidance for full year is like the low single-digit margins, which is, you know, almost break even.
Yeah.
Right. So you get like $1.5 billion of relief on tariffs. That alone dramatically improves your profitability, especially for a company that for a while, it was in negative territory.
General Motors boosted its full-year guidance after the Trump administration exempted some additional auto parts from the tariffs.
The GM results showed that the administration is really looking to help the U.S. auto industry. And that, I think, is actually important. I think that'll help Stellantis as well near term.
The company is also spending about $100 million on engine production in Kokomo, Indiana.
I'd really like to see it all be built here in the States. I mean, I just know the quality production, and you know, QC's. I think it's just better here. But anyways, regardless, I want to see American jobs.
Sign of the times.
So you're seeing first and foremost focusing on ICEs, pickup trucks, SUVs. Definitely going in that direction. That's where the puck is headed.
Ram already brought its V8 Hemi engine back to the Ram 1500 after dropping it in favor of an inline 6 that, at least on paper, was better in just about every way. The company has also redesigned its EV platform to fit gas and hybrid cars too.
These new platforms, which were initially designed to be fully electric, are now dynamic enough that they can put a gas engine in them or make them hybrid or fit into the current marketplace. That didn't seem to be the case when they introduced them as completely electric platforms.
This could spare the company considerable expense. GM said its pivot away from EVs cost $1.6 billion in the third quarter. Ford said its EV division has lost a total of $3.6 billion through Q3.
We talked about this forever. We saw this coming. Why?
The engineering strength of Chrysler has historically been fantastic. And to see that legacy is still there by quickly backtracking on these new Stella platforms is a good sign for the future of the company.
Even with billions in new factories and fresh models on the way, Stellantis' turnaround is far from certain.
U.S. sales and profits depend heavily on Jeep and Ram. Chrysler has 3 versions of the same vehicle, a minivan. Dodge has 4 models, and one is an EV variant. Sales of 2 recent products, the revamped Charger and the Hornet crossover, are down
maybe they're calling
year
the Charger
by a wide margin. Stellantis did not respond to CNBC's requests for an interview.
Each of these brands has their niche, but Dodge and Chrysler are North American, and they have very little product right now. And there's few things on the drawing board to expand that beyond where they are and not encroach in somebody else.
Meanwhile, Stellantis has no entry-level models. The Compass is the cheapest Jeep, starting around $28,000, if you can find one.
Dodge could be the entry-level model. Take that sporty image and you push it down market, and you get all these young buyers who want a performance vehicle.
Yes.
Chrysler could be that equivalent of something where it's below the luxury brands from Europe, but still brings in more money.
Making a cheap car in the US is tough.
A few years ago, they promised an entry-level Jeep. Everything has been quiet on that because that was likely to be imported, and the new tariffs prevent that from coming in. Bringing in a product that starts under $30,000 or significantly under $30,000 and built in the US is very difficult and will end up being a money loser.
Meanwhile, with the production shift, Stellantis might now be faced with underutilized plants in Mexico and Canada.
The plant in Mexico allows them to build at a lower cost.
Everywhere, Stellantis is faced with tension. Cut prices without killing profits, rebuild brands without overlap, innovate without overreaching, walk the line of controlling factory costs without incurring tariffs.
That'll be a painful process, but if they can get there, I do see kind of a light at the end of the tunnel.
Bring the whole thing back to the U.S. People want to support American brands. They want American built. That's the demographics you're trying to appeal to. I don't really see Europe or Canada or Mexico taking on a lot of these units. If that's the demographic you're trying to appeal to, I think it all needs to be brought back here, period, full stop. Sorry, that's exactly how I feel. On the other hand, $13 billion, I'm scared to see, because, I mean, you can't just shell out that kind of cash and then just, eat that loss. It's going to have to be made up on the back end somehow, some way. And I have a feeling it's going to be through our pockets. That being said, the way that they took this approach, I feel lame, because pretty much all the displacements, it's like nothing ever left, which to some people, maybe the older crowd, that might be cool, but this was like your opportunity. Maybe they saved all the castings, all the tooling and everything, maybe they saved some money that way, but it's still going to be the 5.7, 6.4, and the 6.2 supercharged. I don't know. I just see this as an opportunity that you could have built something entirely new, went with like a 440. There's a ton of people that would jump on these new, it's something different. Even if you went retro way back, big cubic inch, big power, that gets people excited. That's what people want. More of the same. I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are happy that it's just back, period. But I think that they kind of missed the boat, seeing as this was like an opportunity to shake things up and really bring things back in a different style with attitude, because that's what Dodge is known for. That's what Dodge does. They come up with all the cool paint codes, all the cool marketing, all the cool names. You know what I mean? That's just what they excel at. And just to bring everything back the way it was, spend a ton of money and charge you for it, I don't know. I really hope it works out for Dodge. I'm happy that it's back. I support American brands. This one kind of makes me nervous, but I'm hoping it's not, going to set a precedence for the other two, Ford and Dodge. But typically what GM does is they follow suit with Ford. But I know that Ford takes on a lot of European influence, and that makes me nervous. the e-torque system, I really didn't want to touch on that, but all it does is replace the alternator. It's just a 48-volt system, just supercharged to help on, fill the torque gaps or whatever to assist the motor. I think everything with the E name is kind of played out at this point. So I think it's a little bit of a letdown as far as like what Dodge usually brings to the table. They usually bring a lot of power on a cheap budget with an edge, badass names and all that. So tell me what you guys think. Hopefully, I'm hoping this is a success. All the luck to them. I'm pulling for them as long as it's, US built, American brand. So you guys have an awesome day. Like it on the way out, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.